Okay, allergies are acting up. Sorry. This is one of my favorite metaphors because it's so, so important. If you were on a road trip and you were, whatever, traveling from Arizona to LA, and you're driving and you look around, and halfway you look around, you're in the desert, you're in the middle of nowhere, there's cacti everywhere, abandoned gas stations, desert, you know, those little the little hay ball things that like roll in the middle of, okay, if you were to look around and see that and think, yeah, this is never going to happen, and then turn around and go back to Arizona, you would never get to where you want to get, okay? You have to know that you are going to get there the way you are very confident on a road trip. You know that California exists. You know that it exists. You would not be able to have that dream if you were not capable of it. It exists because you know that you're capable of it. And if anything else that's limiting you is just you taking in your surroundings, you're halfway on this drive, you're looking at that desert and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is never gonna happen. And you turn back around and you go back to Arizona. So, so heartbreaking. Always pick a dream that you would do it anyways, even if no one ever paid you for it. You would keep doing what you want to do because you love it so much. And that's why I think choosing those kind of goals are so important, where if you were never ever compensated for it, you would still want to do that thing because it's so fun for you. That's the kind of destination you should choose. So, number one, be very enthusiastic about your destination. And number two, do not get discouraged by the journey, okay? Because no one would ever drive anywhere if they didn't know that they were going to get there. You have to have this knowing. You have to know that you would only dream of it if it was because you're capable of it. And the thing is, you don't have to know the whole way. If you never left Arizona because you had to know every single traffic jam that's going to happen, you had to know every single roadblock you're going to hit, every redirection you're going to have to take, you would never leave because you can't know all of those things. But what you can know is just the 5-10 feet in front of you. That's what I love. This Jack Canfield quote. He is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he says, in the middle of the night, you could drive all the way from New York to California in the middle of the night, because with your headlights, all you need is to be able to see the 5-10 feet ahead of you. You don't need to see the whole path. You don't have this whole path figured out from East Coast to West Coast, but you do know that you need to make this distance and then make this distance and make this distance. So it's okay if you can't see the whole path, but just know that you can make it there by only seeing this much. That's okay. Take that much, and then when you get to that, you'll plan the next 5-10 feet. When you try to do this whole journey, if you really, really think about doing whatever, I don't know how long that takes, the days that it takes to get across the country, you would never do that. But you think one day at a time. Okay, when you get in the car, you say, okay, I'm gonna drive 4 hours and then I'll stop for lunch. You break it up in your mind, and we seem to struggle doing that when it comes to our long-term goals. But you just have, when you view it as a road trip, everything changes, and you don't take your surroundings so seriously. In fact, you would even start to enjoy the ride, because you're driving through deserts. How often are you going to drive through desert? You're driving through mountains. How often are you going to drive through mountains? It's not your favorite thing, but you can still appreciate the ride. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that road trip metaphor because it's actually from Abraham Hicks. I love that metaphor because it's always it's really good encouragement when you feel like, okay, why isn't this working out the way that I want to? You're just on the road trip and you're going through the desert portion. Enjoy it, They also have this really good metaphor that talks about a cruise ship and how, we feel like we have this obsession with the finish line. the finish line of life is death, right? You are on this kind of cruise, like you're going to be dead for millions and millions of years, okay? We're in this touching, feeling, tasting world, you know, where we can do all that stuff. You have that guarantee here. We don't really know what the rest of everything else looks like, you know? You're gonna go back to that. So when you are on this ride, like when you're on a cruise ship, can you imagine going on a cruise, whatever, it's leaving from Florida, you're on this cruise and they say, okay, you're at your final destination, right? Because the cruise, you start and end in the same place. And you would say, no, I'm not here to just get to the end, to get back where I came from, because that's what's going to happen when you die. You will go back to where you came from. You say, I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the cruise. I'm here to see all these things and touch all these things. Some parts I will like, some parts I won't like. Either ways, I'm so excited to touch and feel and taste and do all of that stuff. The phenomenon with a lot of Olympians too, like as soon as they achieve their goals, a lot of Olympians feel depressed for a while because they were working towards this huge thing and striving, and then they achieve it and now they don't know what to do with themselves. And then finally, you know, after some time they pick a new goal and are striving again. It's such a cliche to enjoy the process. And I feel like even now as I get older, that's starting to click in, because people would tell you that all the time. But even if you just take a moment to look back in your life, like I think about high school being so stressed out, college being so stressed out. And I really wish I was present in those moments that felt bad, in those moments where I was up late at night studying. Because, right, everyone who's graduated, you look back at that and you're just like, you know, I definitely could have just lightened up a little bit. I could have done all the work that I did with a lighter attitude. You know, I could have done that road trip knowing that I'm going to get where I want to get, but done it with a sense of air, done it with a sense of freedom, you know? So I feel like we feel like that when we look back at what we've accomplished and say, I definitely could have enjoyed that process a little more. And because the goal got there, right? You left school, you graduated, you were 15 before, you're 21 now. You get there, you will get there. Grass doesn't struggle to grow. Grass knows that it will grow, you know, and it will grow naturally without it having to push and pull and try. You will grow into what you want to become. It will happen. And when you try to use force, like, can you imagine screaming at a tree, screaming at a plant and saying, faster, harder, stronger, do it more? You know, that plant would die very quickly, okay? And a lot of us kind of have that internal voice going all the time, but that is against nature. That is not natural. You don't see grass pushing, you don't see trees pushing or striving. You will grow in that direction at your natural pace. So it will happen. The way the road trip will happen. Enjoy the drive while you're on it. My mom told me this. I don't know if it's I think it's a true story. Freddie Mercury from Bohemian Rhapsody, the band, he apparently all of college is telling all of his classmates that I'm gonna be a rock star. One day, he's just like sitting in a bar holding his head, and one of his classmates comes up to him and says, hey Freddie, like, what's going on? You know, you're gonna be a rock star. What's happening? You feeling okay? And he gets up, he turns to him and he says, I'm not just gonna be a rock star, I'm going to be a legend. And I think he like did a pose or something. But that's the thing, you know, you kind of have to really, really know what you want. And it has to come from a place of love, not a place of discipline. You would do it even if no one ever paid you for it. You would do it even though no one ever listened to you. You know, it's something that you love to do from the bottom of your heart so much that you could do it all day. And that is the kind of destination you should pick, because when you pick that destination, the whole ride is enjoyable, right? If your dream is to become an actress, if you're acting in plays, you're having fun. If you're acting in your bedroom, you're having fun. Everything about that is so fun. And now you're just on a bigger screen, you're just in a bigger production, because you were doing what you love the whole time, even though no one ever paid you for it, because you would do it anyways, you know? And I think that's really what life is supposed to feel like. I really feel like life is just supposed to feel like you're playing outside all day, you know, when you're little and you're playing outside with all the neighborhood kids and you just don't want to go in. You're having the time of your life doing it, and no one's paying you to play outside, right? You're just doing it because it's the most fun, alive thing in the world. And you don't want to go in for dinner. You don't want to go in for sleep. You'd rather choose an extra hour of playing outside than going to sleep, because that's how much you love it. So take time to pick your goals, and it's okay to kind of play this game of hot and cold, see what feels good, touch it for a while. If it feels good, lean into it. If it doesn't feel so good, lean out. But give yourself that grace. Trust that you'll find it, you know? We're so hard on ourselves. We take our environment as always as a reflection of where we're going, and you have to think about the road trip. You will get there. You will get there. You're just in the middle of the desert on the drive, and that's okay. Take a second, enjoy the desert. Look at the little iguanas crawling around. Take a close look at a cactus. They're not very pretty, but take a close look at it. What if you never see it again? You know, what if you'd never have to take a road trip where you have to go through desert again? You want to know that you saw a cactus and you saw it really well. So it's just so cheesy to say enjoy the process. You're driving through all the scenery, but know that you're going there. Do not allow all this environment that you perceive as negative to bring you down. And that's why I say heavy on the gas. Yes, you're driving through desert, you're driving through mountains, you're driving through the middle of nowhere, but you know where you're going, and take it in. Enjoy it also. Enjoy it. But don't take it as a reflection of your progress. Don't take it as a reflection of, oh, I'm failing because I'm in the desert portion right now. That's not true. It's not true. That's just how a road trip works. And you only need to see the few feet in front of you and dream big, because all of our dreams, the only reason you dream of it is because you know you're capable of it. You would never dream of something you're not capable of. It's just your perception of yourself that makes you feel like, oh no, I don't think I can do that. I'm not the kind of person who can do that kind of thing. It's just your perception of yourself that limits you, and it's really sad. And also just taking your surroundings too literally. If you see the desert and you know you're trying to get to LA, you would just turn back around, right? Don't turn around. Don't turn around. You're on a road trip. Stay heavy on the gas and keep going, okay? Enjoy the process. It's so cheesy. It's so cheesy. But you don't know where you came from, and you don't know where you're going back to, okay? What you do know is this. And you want to soak it in every single way that you can. You will find that all these high achieving people, if the achieving of the goal was so good, they would just achieve that one goal and sit in it and retire and relax the rest of their life, right? You know, so many high achievers who could have retired years ago, right? But they understand that sitting in the achievement of that goal doesn't really do anything the way the process does. And it's a process, not a striving, okay? There's a difference. The process, you're allowing it to flow. Striving is you're pushing and you're pulling it and you're trying to force it to happen. It's, imagine trying to pull at grass to make it grow taller. The grass will grow taller. It will grow taller. whether or not you like it. And if you yank at it too many times, you're going to severely hurt the grass or, really hinder its progress. You might even kill it. The way you would treat a plant that's trying to grow, the way you wouldn't question it when it's this much, because you planted a tree, but it's only this much. You wouldn't say it's a failure, or you wouldn't start pulling at it and saying faster, faster, grow harder, harder. That's what a lot of us do, and it's really sad because the finish line of anything is the most boring part. The finish line of life is death. You don't want that. The finish line of your goal, a lot of high achievers will tell you the finish line is nice, it's fun, it's cool, but you sit in it for about a few days before you're like, okay, what's next now? What process am I working towards now? That really is the best part. It really is the cruise, not the fact that you're just going back where you came from. Crazy, right? God, don't I just sound so... I never thought that I would be one of these people who, preaches, enjoy the process, but look at me. Enjoy the process. Love you guys.